Boy, reading the news lately is really quite interesting. 3 million vehicle repossessions projected by the end of 2025. Hopefully, you won't get caught up in this, but what's happening right now is, and I can tell you from firsthand knowledge, the cost of vehicles have skyrocketed in the past couple of years. Not that they weren't expensive before, but now the prices are outrageous for new vehicles as well as used vehicles. My daughter spent 3 months looking for a good used vehicle. Her initial budget was $15,000. And would she believe it? It still took her, we really actually started looking 6 months ago. 6 months ago, 15,000, she wasn't able to find a good, reliable vehicle that she wanted. And so she halted that search for a while. And then about 3.5 months ago, she started her search again. All the while, she borrowed my vehicle to get back and forth to work and do some of her other errands that she needed to do, because her vehicle, which she had prior to purchasing the new vehicle, had broken down. She'd had that vehicle for about 8 years, ever since she was 16, and so she's now 24. And she was quite disappointed that she had to spend a lot more than $15,000 to find a good, reliable used vehicle. Not to mention the cost of insurance. That's a whole other topic. But reading this article by Henry Cesar, and of course my husband brought this article to me. It was written on November 5th of 2025. They are projecting by the end of this year that 3 million people will default on their car loans. And, people are being squeezed from all areas in their lives financially. The housing costs are high. Grocery costs are high, utility costs are high, insurance costs in Michigan are just absolutely outrageous. I mean, I don't know how they get away with charging us these rates. Now, Michigan drivers aren't all that great. Yeah, we do have a lot of accidents here, so I guess that's why. But me personally, I've never caused an accident, so I'm 50 years old. I hope I don't ever cause one. But anyway, we are where we are. So according to this article that was written by Mr. Cesar, and apparently he got his information from Newsweek, they arrived at these numbers by looking at the amount of defaults that are being reported currently. 7.5 million repossession assignments currently have been reported, and millions more are expected by the end of 2025. Now, 7.5 million repossession assignments have been reported, meaning that, people are in a position where they're being threatened to have their vehicles repossessed due to missed payments. Okay, but the actual repossessions, they're projecting it's going to be somewhere around 3 million. That's going to happen, at least. And it says 30% of repossessions occur typically in the fourth quarter of the year. So the end result would likely be around 3 million vehicles repossessed in 2025. Why is this happening? Well, we all know why. The price of the average vehicle today is about $50,000, and the average price of a used vehicle, decent used vehicle, is about half that, at $25,000. Outrageous, right? And then you're not even paying car insurance at that point yet. So it's really tough for people right now. When your car note is equivalent to a mortgage payment, that is a huge problem. And I don't think people really think carefully. They buy with their emotions. Oh my God, this car is so nice, it's so beautiful, it's so shiny, so pretty, it smells so good. The moment you drive it off the lot, what happens? You lose somewhere around 8 to 10% of the value of the vehicle once you drive it off the lot. And so already some of us, because we haven't put a huge amount of money down, we rely solely on debt to pay the car off. A lot of people drive off the lot in the rear Because once you drive the vehicle off the lot, it's no longer considered a used vehicle. I mean, it's no longer a new vehicle, it's now a used vehicle. So the thing is, I know that it's hard finding a good, reliable vehicle, right? Yes, it's hard to find a good, reliable vehicle, but perhaps you can put yourself in a position where you can take your time and find a vehicle that you can afford, and make it more easy to afford when you can put a large amount of cash down, because then that means your car note won't be as high. And if you're in the unique situation where you can pay cash for your vehicle, which I've done that before. If you pay cash for your vehicle, you're definitely in a position where you can bargain, you can negotiate better terms with the dealership, because trust me, they can negotiate a little bit more than what they say that they can, and more than you think they can. So when you have cash that you're flashing before their eyes, a lot of times, they will give you a better price for the vehicle. But my daughter ended up putting about $7,000 down on her vehicle, so her payment is very reasonable. She still lives at home, and that is a good choice, because oftentimes young people will leave home sooner than they need to, or sooner than they're ready to, and now they've got all these expenses. Oh my God, I didn't realize I've got rent, I've got lights, gas, water, whatever, car note, car insurance, food, I've got this expense that happened, this unexpected thing that happened. And then what about if they're in college? Oh my gosh, now they've got college expenses, and perhaps maybe those college bills are deferred for now, but they'll be coming later. But anyway, getting back to the article, what is happening here? Vehicle prices are skyrocketing out of control, and oftentimes people, especially those who don't have good credit, oh my gosh, you get eaten alive in interest, right? So fortunately, I've taught my daughter very well how to obtain a good credit score, how to be responsible with regards to paying her bills on time. And so her credit score was actually very high, not quite 800, but a little bit lower than that. But she had an excellent credit score, so she was able to get an excellent rate, 4.9%. Very few people can get that, especially with a used car. So most used car loans are offered at an interest rate that is about 6.5% or higher. They're called subprime loans. And these subprime loans are a higher interest rate due to the borrower's credit not being very high. Maybe it's under 750 or under 700, or maybe they have no credit, they have bad credit. Oh my God, you're getting really ready to pay a whole lot if you have bad credit. So, and even with people with no credit, because it's bad not to have any credit, because now creditors don't know whether you're going to be responsible and pay that debt back on time or not. So that's another reason why it can be difficult to get a good interest rate when making purchases such as buying a vehicle when you have no credit. So according to the Consumer Federation of America, Americans owe over $1.66 trillion in auto debt. Oh my God, that is just terrible. Delinquencies are occurring at a rate similar to those right before the Great Recession of December 2007. So, are we headed for a recession? Some would say yes. Some would say we're currently in a recession. The biggest question is whether we're headed for a recession or whether we're currently in a recession. Are you prepared? That's really the real question. And if many of you are not prepared, you have time. So you're listening to me now. If you're in a position where you don't have at least 6 months of savings, reserve money in the bank, it's time for you to revamp your budget and figure out how to put yourself in a stronger financial position. Because the last thing you want is to have all these bills piling up on you that you can hardly pay, and suddenly you find out that your employer no longer needs you, or the overtime has suddenly been stripped away. There are a lot of Americans out there who are living really good, but they're living good because they work overtime. You should never put yourself in a position where you need to work overtime in order to pay your bills, or you're working overtime to pay for things that you really don't need. I only advocate or encourage people to work overtime if they're doing so to get ahead. Okay, it is a very useful tool. I've done it myself, and if you're working overtime just to bank the money so that you can put it in an investment later on, that's a smart move. So I definitely condone that. But the real question is, and only you can answer this, are you ready for a potential recession? How would the impact hurt you and your family? So there's a lot of people out there who think that they can't afford my services because I'm a financial coach. I help position people so that during a potential economic downturn, they are less affected than they otherwise would be. You don't have to hire me because you want to be a millionaire. You hire me because you want to be in a better financial position, a better position that you're currently not in, that you desire to be in. So for you people who earn a nice salary, a nice income, but you can't figure out where it's vanishing every month, you are my ideal client. We need to talk, okay? Because there's something I can do about it. There's a lot of people out here who are barely making ends meet, and they're not earning enough money in order to provide the lifestyle that they want or even to get out of debt. But there are many of you out there who do earn a good salary. You have 2 incomes coming in, but you just can't quite figure out where the money is going. You can afford me because you can't afford not to hire me, because I'm going to help you put you in the position that you and your family deserve to be in, a position of comfort. So reach out to me, send me an email, and let's start a conversation today. Sharnella@sharnellaclark.com. Don't delay. If you like my content, I'll see you on the next episode. I want you to like and subscribe, and please tell me how you like the content. And if there's anything that you would like for me to elaborate on or to talk about, please let me know in the comments. See you next time.